Think about your morning. What do you think of when someone says Easter? Do you think of chocolate eggs, a rabbit, a basket full of candy? For many people, Easter is a sweet holiday. Children look for eggs in the grass. Families eat big meals together. Church bells ring with joy. It is a holiday about new life, spring, and happy times. But if you think Easter was always like this, if you think it is only about rabbits and candy and Christianity, you are wrong. Behind this happy holiday, there is a dark secret, a truth that has been hidden for thousands of years, a story about blood, old gods, and how one holiday was stolen and changed forever. Today, we will look at the real history of Easter. We will go back in time, before Christianity, to see how our ancestors celebrated spring in ways that might surprise you. This is not a story about chocolate and rabbits. This is a story about power, change, and a goddess that history forgot. So, sit back, relax, but be ready. What you are about to learn might change how you see Easter forever. Before Christianity came to Europe, people there worshipped different gods. In Old English and German tribes, there was a goddess named Eostre. Her name means east and dawn. She was the goddess of spring, of new life, of light coming back after a long, dark winter. Every year, after the spring equinox, when the moon was full, people had a big celebration for Eostre. It was her festival. During these celebrations, people lit fires. They celebrated that winter was finally over. They watched the earth turn green again. They saw animals wake up from their long sleep. It was a celebration of life winning over death, but back then, there was no Jesus in the story. In Eostre's festival, there were two symbols that we still know today. The first symbol was the rabbit. Why a rabbit? In old European cultures, the rabbit was a symbol of new life. Rabbits have many babies. In spring, you could see them everywhere in the fields. For people who worshipped a spring goddess, the rabbit showed the power of life, life bursting out after the death of winter. The second symbol was the egg. An egg is a miracle, a hard shell, and inside, a new life is waiting. When the shell breaks, life comes out. This was the perfect symbol for spring. During Eostre's festival, people colored eggs in bright colors, the colors of spring, of sun, of grass, of flowers. So here is the truth. The two main symbols of Easter, the rabbit and the colored egg, did not come from Christianity. They came from an old goddess, from a spring festival, from a world before Jesus. So how did these symbols become part of Easter? The story begins a few hundred years after Jesus lived. In the 4th century, Christianity was growing fast in Europe. But there was a problem. People did not want to give up their old beliefs. You could tell them there was only one God. You could tell them that Jesus died and came back to life. But you could not stop them from going into the forest in spring to celebrate the festival their grandparents celebrated and their grandparents before them. The early church leaders had a choice. Should they say no to these old festivals and make people angry? Or should they find a way to keep the festivals but give them new meaning? They chose the second way. It was a smart idea. If you cannot beat them, take their festival and change it. In the year 325, church leaders met at the Council of Nicaea. They had a problem. When should Easter be? They wanted Easter to be on a different day from the Jewish Passover. But they also needed a date that felt familiar to the new Christians in Europe. Their decision, Easter would be on the first Sunday after the first full moon after the spring equinox. Wait, isn't that the same date as Eostre's festival? Yes, exactly the same. The church did not make a new date. They took Eostre's date and put a new name on it. They put the story of Jesus' resurrection into the old celebration of the spring goddess. And the name Easter itself? It comes from Eostre. In most languages, Easter is called something like Pascha, from the Hebrew word for Passover. But English is different. The English word Easter keeps the name of the old goddess that history forgot. This was a perfect example of cultural change. Take an old pagan festival and make it look like a Christian one. But what about the rabbit? What about the eggs? The church had ways to deal with these too. The rabbit got a new story. In the Middle Ages, some Christians connected the rabbit to Mary, the mother of Jesus. Why? Because of an old legend. People long ago believed that rabbits could have babies without losing their virginity. This is not true. Rabbits do not work that way. But people in the Middle Ages believed it, and they used this idea to explain Mary. She was a virgin, but she had a baby. So the rabbit became a symbol for Mary. The old symbol of the spring goddess became a symbol for the mother of Jesus. The rabbit did not disappear. It just got a new owner. The egg story is more complicated. In the Middle Ages, during Lent, the 40 days before Easter, people were not allowed to eat eggs. But chickens do not stop laying eggs just because it is Lent. So by Easter, people had many eggs that they needed to eat. Boiled eggs last longer, so people boiled them. Then, people started to decorate them. Why? Because it was spring, because it was a time to celebrate. The bright colors got new meanings: red for the blood of Jesus, green for new life, yellow for light. The old pagan custom of coloring eggs got new Christian meanings. The chocolate egg came much later. In the 19th century, the Cadbury Company in England learned how to make pure chocolate. In 1875, they made the first chocolate Easter egg. Business and religion came together, and a new tradition was born. The Easter rabbit, as we know it today, also became popular in the 19th century. German immigrants brought the story of the Osterhase Easter rabbit to America. The story said that this rabbit would bring eggs to good children on Easter. The story was copied and sold, and soon the world knew about the Easter bunny. But in all of this, one thing was lost: Eostre, the goddess of spring, the one whose name is still in the word Easter. She was forgotten. There is an old story about Eostre. It says that one day, she found a bird with a broken wing. To save the bird's life, she turned it into a rabbit. But the rabbit still kept one thing from its bird life: it could still lay eggs. So every spring, the rabbit would lay eggs, decorate them, and give them to Eostre. This is the connection between Eostre, the rabbit, and the eggs. It is a beautiful story. But is it true? Historians are not sure. What we know for sure is this: when Christianity became the official religion of Europe, the temples of Eostre were torn down. Her priests were killed. Her festival was given a new name. But people never stopped celebrating spring. They never will, because spring is not a religion. Spring is a fact. When the snow melts, when flowers bloom, when animals have babies, humans celebrate. It is in our blood. The church could not change that, so they wrapped it in new stories. The pagan spring festival became the Christian Easter. Eostre's rabbit became the Easter bunny. Colored eggs became a symbol of Jesus' resurrection. And Eostre herself? She almost disappeared from history. Now, come back to your Easter morning. You pick up a chocolate egg. You take off the shiny paper. Children run in the garden, looking for eggs that were hidden. On the table, there is food. Maybe ham, maybe hot cross buns, maybe some boiled eggs colored red. It all looks sweet, simple, a holiday, about candy and family. But do you know what you are really doing? When you pick up that egg, you are taking part in a tradition that is more than 1,000 years old. The egg in your hand was once a symbol of an old goddess. It meant life coming from death. It was boiled by monks in the Middle Ages. It was turned into chocolate by a candy maker in the 19th century. What you are doing is what humans have done for thousands of years, celebrating spring. The secret of Easter is not about Jesus. The secret is this: Easter was never a pure Christian holiday. It was taken. It was changed. It was given new names. Its symbols came from old ideas about life and birth. Its date came from the moon and the spring. Its name came from a goddess that most people have forgotten. Today's Easter is like an old building. You can see many layers: pagan, Christian, commercial, each layer telling a different story. Eostre is gone, but her name is still here. Her rabbit is still here. Her eggs are still here. Most people just do not know. So, does this matter? Maybe not. Holidays change, cultures mix, meanings shift. That is how history works. No one says a holiday must stay pure. But one thing matters: knowing the truth. Knowing that Easter is not just about rabbits and candy. knowing that 2,000 years ago, people worshipped a goddess of spring, knowing that what we do today, our ancestors did too, just with different names. This connects us to the past. It helps us see that we did not invent our traditions. We are part of a long chain. We take old customs and give them new meaning. So, next time you pick up an Easter egg, think of Eostre. Think of the people 2,000 years ago, standing in a forest, watching the sun rise on a spring morning. Think of the monks who colored eggs, and the candy makers who made them from chocolate. Think of yourself a new person in this long-changing tradition. The real secret of Easter is not resurrection. The real secret is this: no matter what you call it, no matter what God you worship, spring always comes. Life always wins over death. And humans will always find a way to celebrate this. Because it is in our blood. From Eostre to today, from old forests to city gardens, from fires to chocolate eggs, we have always celebrated the same thing: new life. So when you bite into that chocolate, when you see children laughing, when you feel the spring sun on your face, now you know what you are really celebrating. An old, hidden, but never forgotten festival. This is the dark secret of Easter, but maybe it is also the brightest secret of all. Thank you for watching. If you like this story, please like and subscribe, and click the bell so you never miss another story. See you next time.